let's stay on the topic of things that got revealed over at Star Wars Celebration this week, shall we? Now, of course, we got some of the big things that came out. We got our first look at the Ahsoka trailer, which, even though I'm not a big fan of the Ahsoka character, that was a great trailer. And I am very excited to watch that series. And we're going to talk about a number of other things coming out there as well. But a couple of things that didn't get talked about on the big stage when they dropped the announcements about the Mandalorian movie, about the Rey Skywalker movie, about the James Mangold, Formation Birth of the Jedi movie. What was not discussed was, number one, the Star Wars movie that Kathleen Kennedy just recently said was going to be the next Star Wars movie, which was Taika Waititi's. Also, they have never officially said that they have canceled the Rian Johnson trilogy. Remember, they made an announcement that Rian Johnson was going to be doing a trilogy of films. I have said from day one, that trilogy will never happen. But Rian Johnson has kept talking as if it was going to happen, and Kathleen Kennedy has kept talking as if it was going to happen. Well, finally, at Star Wars Celebration this week, Kathleen Kennedy said, yeah, that project, that's no longer happening. Although, they still could work together. This is what Kathleen Kennedy had to say about the Rian Johnson situation. She said the following. Kathleen Kennedy explained that they are no longer developing the Rian Johnson trilogy of films, but would love to work with him again when his schedule permits. Rian and I talk all the time, she said. He is unbelievably busy, so we're not actively involved in anything at the moment because he's doing one of the Glass Onion movies and then God knows what else. But he really wants to step back into space. It's a big commitment of time, so that's really on him. And again, that comes to us from Kathleen Kennedy via the good folks over at IndieWire. So it's finally confirmed. No more predicting, no more whatever. That Rian Johnson trilogy that was going to happen, done. And I'll tell you what, they've known it's been done for, I'm going to say years. They've known for a long time this wasn't going to happen. But they were just going to take their time, and then kind of drop it in a piece of news like this. So it just very quietly comes in and goes, but they've officially said it. So there it's done. Now, on the Taika Waititi stage, a movie that Kathleen Kennedy has said repeatedly was the next film up. This is the next one. On that, Kathleen Kennedy gave a little bit more insight into what's going on there. And apparently, according to her, it's still happening. So they say. She didn't have many concrete updates to offer on the Taika Waititi project, but promised that the film is still moving forward. Taika is still working away, she said. He's writing the script himself. He doesn't really want to bring others into that process, and I don't blame him. He has a very, very, very unique voice, so we want to protect that. And, Jonathan? And that's what he's doing. But we're going to make that one day. Oh my God. Those are two words you never want to hear about a movie you're hoping to see get made. One day. It's gone from Taika's our next one up to one day. One day. I'll go on the record right now. This Taika Waititi movie isn't happening. Taika Waititi movie's not happening. It ain't gonna happen. They're gonna employ now the same strategy. Now, listen, no one's given me that information. Let me be clear about this, okay? I'm not saying I got insider information from Disney or Lucasfilm saying that this movie's been canceled. This is just me as a fan, just as another fan, looking at the information in front of us and then making a speculative guess. But my speculative guess is, based on the history of Lucasfilm, is my guess at this point is like the Rian Johnson thing. I no longer believe this thing's going to happen. And I think that's a shame. I think that's a shame because, granted, Thor Love and Thunder was not peak Taika Waititi. But whereas we movie fans have these amazingly annoying blinders where we can't see anything beyond what was the last thing we watched, Taika Waititi is an Academy Award-winning, brilliant storyteller and filmmaker. Granted, I'm with you that I think Thor Love and Thunder was a step backwards. I'm on that. I agree. It was a step backwards, 100%. But all this other work that has been nothing short of staggeringly brilliant has not suddenly disappeared. Not to mention, some of his Star Wars television directing has been the best Star Wars television directing we've had, him and Bryce Dallas Howard. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I am, for one, regardless of the hiccup that was Thor Love and Thunder, I have been very excited about seeing what Taika Waititi was going to do here. Because, man, if he could bring like a cross between a Wilder People and Jojo Rabbit with a bit of the snark of What We Do in the Shadows, which is still to this day one of the best shows on TV going right now. I think that could have been utterly brilliant. And you saw a little bit of that formula of his in the episodes of Mandalorian that he directed. He's fantastic. But I at this point think that's probably not going to happen now. Anyway, Chris, it sounds like Kathleen Kennedy has now put a knife in it.
Yeah.
The Rian Johnson trilogy is now done.
You
although
say knives are out.
the knives are out. Well said. Well said. But she's leaving the door open saying she would still like to work with him again someday. Again, whether you loved or hated The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson is an Academy-nominated, brilliant filmmaker. Anyway, what do you think about these two pieces of news, both the Rian Johnson and the Taika Waititi?
I mean, the Rian Johnson one, the writing's been on the wall for a while, right? And there's always been this, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll pursue this other trilogy. And it seems like, that just wasn't going to happen here. Kind of a shame, because I know I'm one of the people in the minority. I did like what he was setting up in Last Jedi. I thought a lot of that was really, really great. I thought there were some really interesting concepts there that I would have loved to have explored. But hey, that doesn't seem to be what the majority of people want. Rise of Skywalker seems to also not be what the majority of people wanted.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
Some swings and roundabouts, right? He's an incredibly, incredibly talented filmmaker who is busy with Poker Face, with his Knives Out universe, with tons of other stuff. He's wonderful. And what he and Taika share, too, is they have a wonderful, wonderful, long list of films that they've done that are incredible. You look back to things like Brick. You look back
Brick is so good.
Brick is so good and so underrated. He does wonderful, wonderful films. Looper is so good. And Taika Waititi, Thor Love and Thunder, I've talked about on this show. It wasn't my cup of tea, but so many people really enjoyed it still. They had a really fun time. It didn't bomb at the box office by any means. There were people who thought, this is a really fun look at Thor, and I like this new chapter for him. And again, Taika has this extensive list of incredible work. Eagle versus Shark. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
And I don't understand why we allow one film that we maybe don't completely resonate with. And I'm guilty of this too, I'm sure. But I'm not sure why we allow one film that maybe has some missteps to completely dictate somebody's career. Because we as fans seem to really, really just jump and turn on people so quickly. And it's really disheartening. We all have bad days at the office, right? We all underperform constantly in our own lives. And I just don't understand why we don't extend that same grace to these creators. It's really fucking hard to make movies. It's really hard.
Yeah.
They're so subjective. There's so many moving parts. So many things ultimately are out of your control. And I know I can be pretty harsh on this show, but I just think we should give folks a little extra time here to figure out their stuff. I hope the Taika film is still happening. It definitely rings of the James Gunn DC Marvel crossover. Definitely maybe, right?
Yeah.
It has that kind of fixin' to do vibe. But I would really, really like to see what he's done because like you said, his directing in the Star Wars universe has been so fun. His presence in the Star Wars universe has been so fun. So I hope that it comes to fruition, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
All right, guys, question is for you. Apparently now we got some more information about what's going on with Rian Johnson and Taika Waititi. They're saying the Taika Waititi thing will still happen one day. I don't personally buy it. And the Rian Johnson trilogy is officially dead. What do you think about that? Do you think the Taika one will actually happen someday? Do you think that Rian Johnson will make another Star Wars movie someday? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Listen, cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there is a better way to break your habits. And we're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor or putting Vaseline on your feet under your socks. No, we're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? And Fume is an innovative, award-winning device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fumes is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all-natural, delicious flavors. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. When I first got my Fume, I couldn't believe how beautiful the design was. It's perfectly weighted, and when I breathed it in the first time, I was blown away by just how fresh it tasted. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use the code CAMPIA to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code CAMPIA to save an additional 10% off your order today.